Hello. It's been a really long time, so just apologizing. I have had like a weird couple of months. I think the last time I uploaded was in July, so sorry again. It's probably going to be almost October by the time this is up. But I've had a minor health scare. Without going too far into it, I had some neurological symptoms. I had to do a bunch of testing, like blood tests, many blood tests. I had to do a nerve conduction study, which if you've never done that before, basically they electrocute you over and over and put needles in your muscles to make sure that you're not dying or have damage. And I had to do an MRI. So it's just really stressing me out, and I just needed to take a break from things. I didn't have much passion for this at the time because I was freaking out. So I'm back. I'm excited to be doing this. We're doing a slightly different format now. If I'm going to be doing essay-ish stuff, I would much rather do it on Substack and just write it. So the podcast is going to be more purely, we're just talking pop culture and shit I'm into. And it's going to be a fun time for everybody. I think it's going to be much more casual and silly. And that is what I'm looking to do. And that's what I usually like listening to if I'm listening to a podcast anyway. So it'll be good, I think, for everybody. But I'm getting back into the swing of things. So forgive me if I'm still a little awkward. If I trip over my words. If I leave things out, I'm working on it. Okay. So I can even tell right now as I'm talking that I feel like a little bit nervous, and that's really not like me. So it's gonna take me a second to get back into it. So just be patient with me. But yeah, anyway, I've not felt super great. I have like tingling in my limbs still. They put me on gabapentin, which is like for seizures, more or less. I'm not having seizures, but it works-ish. It's made things slightly better. I will say the MRI was really funny. I know there's like this TikTok going around right now where the girl's like, I asked for chaperone and they gave me something called chaperone, and it's this guy making ambient noise music that sounds like an MRI. I didn't have that, but I did have a music mishap, which is that when she was giving me the IV, she was like, what music do you want? And I was like, oh, I was just gonna ask for like pop music. She's like, oh, that's great, because usually sometimes people will ask for like beach noises or like calming ambient stuff, and she's like, it doesn't really work that way because that's how the machine sounds. And I was like, yeah, totally get it, that makes sense to me. So I was gonna ask for very specific pop music. I was gonna ask for I'm wearing a Vroom Vroom shirt. I was gonna ask for Charlie, and she didn't give me that opportunity. She just gave me the headphones and was like, okay, I'm putting on pop music now. And it was insane because the machine started up and it started playing that song that's like, it's like a dad song, and it's like, listen to the music, like over and over and over again. And then it was like Uptown Funk and that Miley song and a BTS song. I don't know, just like, why am I in an MRI listening to Uptown Funk? You know? That's not what I wanted. It's literally not what I wanted. But what am I supposed to do? Like, press the little, like, squeezy button they gave me and be like, hey, sorry, like, I actually really didn't want to listen to Mark Ronson right now. Can you put on something? Because that's, like, a diva move. And I'm trying to just get through this MRI as fast as I can. So I'm just, like, dealing with, like, Maroon 5 and shit that I don't want to listen to. So, MRI was a little bit torturous, not for reasons that people normally cite as being torturous. Honestly, the sounds were kind of funny to me, and I don't really mind being put in a coffin, so I was fine with that. But I did not like the music, so anyway, they didn't find any answers, in case you were wondering. The leading thing that we were worried about was MS. I have a lot of symptoms of MS. the tingling, weird neurological things. Sometimes my eyes flash light in front of me. So it's weird that I don't have it, to be honest with you. I still kind of think I might have it, and it's just not showing up on the white matter of my brain, because that's possible. But I don't want to be the kind of person that's like, well, why don't you just check my spine? Because I don't want them to puncture my I really don't want a lumbar test. So, because I'm doing okay right now, I'm just gonna chill on it and hope that things don't get worse. So, because the other obvious answer is that I'm very stressed out all the time, and I could just be stressing myself out. I'm on an SSRI. Sometimes those have weird neurological side effects. So, bro, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better, or at the very least, I'm just getting used to it. So, I'm back on the podcast, I guess. Anyway, back to the new format. I really personally just enjoy it when a podcast talks shit. So that's what I'm going to do, and I think about a lot of shit on just a daily basis. So I have plenty of pop culture stuff to talk at you about, and we can talk together, because I upload these to YouTube, and that has a comment section. I believe Spotify also has a comment section now, so, like, don't be afraid to talk to me. I would love to hear your thoughts. Message me on Instagram. Literally just, like, say hi, as long as you're not going to be weird and creepy about it. So that would be awesome. But yeah, I want to be more regular with the podcast. I want to keep up with the zeitgeist. And, you know, like I said, if I want to write an essay, I literally have a Substack. I can do that there instead. So, yeah. Well, our first topic of the week, in terms of this new format, I would love to address Addison Rae, because I really like her, and it seems like a lot of people don't get it, or, like, don't like her like I do. They don't understand her like I do. I have absolutely no proof that she's a good person or anything. I just think she seems very sweet. She's got, like, a little southern charm. I think she's from Louisiana or something. I did find an article that detailed why a lot of people don't like her. A lot of people think she's problematic. I don't see it. I'm gonna get into that. Also, before I talk about Addison Rae, I just want to address the fact that my hair looks wet. It's because it is wet. If you're watching on YouTube, it's because I just showered. And then I was like, damn, I really should just record the podcast. So, it doesn't look that great. But you just get to live with that. Who cares? I'm recording the podcast for you at 10:15 at night, because this is what I do. So, anyway, Addison Rae. So the article that I found, it's on some, like, blog called University Girl, if this tells you anything about the level of research I was able to find. Basically, it started with her being a TikTok dancer back in, like, 2020. Many people, and honestly, it's true, she was stealing dances from other creators. This kind of seems to be, like, the crux of the dislike for Addison. I think if that is something that upsets you, like, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you not to be upset by it. I will also acknowledge that's just sort of how TikTok works. Like, somebody uploads a dance, everybody copies it and does their own dance. Like, I don't know, the Apple dance was big this summer. I uploaded an Apple dance. I did not create the Apple dance, but I did do it. You know, should she be crediting dancers? Sure. I don't think she did. That's not great, considering she was, like, a huge creator. One of the most popular, I think, on the platform, like, still to this day. I don't think it makes her racist, which tends to be the accusation, because a lot of the dances she did were made by Black creators, Black, I guess, choreographers, if we want to call it that. So, and she did a lot of those dances on Jimmy Fallon, I think. And people didn't like that she did them on Jimmy Fallon, because it made it seem like she came up with them on her own when she didn't. So, I mean, she's a good dancer. Like, I'm not going to say she's not a good dancer. I don't think she's coming up with anything on anything she did on TikTok, I don't think was like her idea. So I understand if that's like a reason not to like her for you personally. I just think, like I said, that's how TikTok works. Even if you're a big creator, and a lot of people thought she was cute and charming, and that's why she was so popular. And she's white, so that plays into it. I'm not denying that. But yeah, that is why people don't like Addison Rae. In addition to that, she also was in an MMA fight in, what year? July 10, 2021. Where Trump happened to be there. I guess Trump really likes MMA. This is something that, like, I recently found out, and I was like, I guess that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Does the average rich person in New York City like MMA? I don't know. But it kind of fits his aesthetic, so whatever. They were both at the same MMA fight in Vegas in July of 2021. She introduced herself to Donald Trump and was like, nice to meet you, whatever. I don't take this as proof of anything. She did also endorse Kamala recently. Kamala. I really have a hard time with that. Kamala. And, like, I don't know. She doesn't seem like a Trump voter to me. Yes, she's from the South. Let's not make assumptions. But yeah, she did introduce herself to him. But here's the thing with that, to me, not to just play devil's advocate for Addison Rae as soon as we, like, get into this episode, but if I was in the same space as Donald Trump, I, too, would probably go up and say hi. Just because you have to do it for the bit. Like, if you're in that position, just go do it. You know what I mean? You can tell people that you did that. I wouldn't be overly polite about it. It sounds like she was rather polite. I would probably make some weird underhanded comment to make him feel weird about the interaction. But maybe she's not like that. I don't know. I'm not going to take it as an endorsement. There were also a bunch of rumors after that claimed that she voted Republican prior to 2020, which is impossible and false, because she literally would not have been old enough yet. She was born in 2000. So she was not able to vote before 2020. She could have voted in 2018, I guess. But she would not have been able to vote for Trump, obviously. I'm going to be honest, I don't think she's a Republican. Just based on the fact that she recently endorsed Kamala and seems pretty left-leaning socially, which I will get into. Her pop career since then, she released some music in 2023, an EP. Actually, I think there was a single before that was also on the EP. Obsessed, which I don't think is like the best song in the world. It's like a fine pop song. Yeah, that was in 2021. So she's been doing the music thing for a second. She did that horrible Netflix movie that I totally recommend you watch with somebody and make fun of, because it is really, really good for that. What is it even called? It's not He's Not That Into You. It's so funny. He's All That. He's All That. Amazing movie. Yeah, so she's been pursuing a pop career since 2021. Her first single was Fine. Her EP in 2023, AR, I found very enjoyable. It was a good, like, summer pop moment. To Die For with Charlie is great. I also really like Nothing On But the Radio, which I believe is, like, a discarded Lady Gaga track. It's just fun. It's, like, fun, well-produced pop music. I think she's got an okay voice. She definitely seems invested in making good music, if you ask me. It's clear that she, like, likes music a lot. Obviously she was a dancer. It did also kind of go viral in 2022-ish that she was a big listener of, like, Sophie and Arca and a bunch of, like, hyper pop artists that are a bit off the beaten path. She's listening to, like, Björk and stuff, which are not, like, unheard of artists or anything, but you certainly have to be into music, I think, to enjoy them. Like, earlier this year, she was wearing, like, a Sophie sweater, which to me also is proof that she's, like, probably not a conservative, because, like, I don't know, Sophie was trans and like stood for very left-leaning ideas. I don't know. I'm not going to judge Addison, is what I'm saying. Also, it's just kind of cool to wear a Sophie sweater on the street. I don't know. So I think she obviously really likes experimental production, and that's cool. I think that says a lot about where her career could go, which is just exciting to me. Obviously, she's working with Charlie a lot. She did that remix to Von Dutch that everybody really likes, that killed it at the, it wasn't Boiler Room. It was that show she did right after. But it's great. We love it. And there was another interview that Charlie did somewhat recently where she basically just said, like, Addison has really good taste. She's writing a lot. She really seems to know what she wants. That's great, you know? Anyway, her latest single, I've really been enjoying Diet Pepsi. I've talked to a lot of people that I usually, like, respect their music taste about it, and a lot of people like Diet Pepsi, even though it's not, like, a very high-charting pop single. I think it really has an audience right now. She's also been working with Petra Collins. She did some modeling for Petra Collins's fashion line, and those photos are really great and funny. There's like one where she's wearing like a t-shirt dress and like balancing books on her head, and somebody's like smoking out of a bong near her. It's really funny and just I think kind of shows that she's trying to go in more of like a quirky direction with, I guess, her look and her career. So I really like it. And the Diet Pepsi video was directed by Sean Price Williams, who did the cinematography on Good Time with Robert Pattinson, the Safdie brothers, which is great. It's a good music video, obviously. He also directed The Sweet East this summer. I haven't seen that yet, but I've heard it's quite good. But yeah, I like the song. It's got obviously a lot of Lana to it, if you've heard it, especially like lyrically. There's a lot there that I think Lana would have written 10 years ago. And I think it's led some people, Nymphet alumni specifically in other podcasts, refer to it as art house pop, as in like it's sort of filling like an A24 niche, but within pop. Like it is mainstream, but it's being marketed toward people who wouldn't necessarily connect with radio pop music, even though there are a lot of similarities. So, and I can see where that's coming from. It is hard for me to shake the feeling that people are sort of hyping it up because they're so shocked by her switch from like TikTok star to pop star, and there's sort of a novelty to that. I see a lot there on its own terms that I really like, so that's my take on that. I just think she's like genuinely very interesting as a figure in that she seems quite genuine, and has sort of weird interests while like maintaining this very like girl next door normal persona that not a lot of people I think would be able to pull off. At the same time, I think that's going to confuse a lot of people, and I don't know how marketable it is, but that doesn't really matter to me, so whatever. I really liked her dress at the VMAs. It's not really a dress. It's lingerie with like very exaggerated boobage. It's not really a bodice. It's a bra with like literal like cups that are pointy and plush, I guess. They're sort of like pillow-esque, with like a normal like bottom set connected to like a huge like tutu. It's very silly and dramatic, and it just sort of reminds me of like 1930s, what is that, like Gold Rush of 1930, whatever, like this, it's a movie that was a musical from the 30s, where people jump into a pool and it's like, they're choreographed, and it's very, show tunesy, if that makes sense to anybody. It's like the way her hair is done too is like very old fashioned, and like the way she's posing and like this very like ta-da sort of way. It's, dare I say, camp. I know that gets overused, but that's what it is. So I just think she has, I guess, like Charlie said, good taste and good instincts. And it did land her on a lot of worst dress lists, but I see the vision and I understand what she's doing. So I don't know. I want to see more. I like her. She always seems to be happy and having a great time, and that makes me happy and hope that she continues to have a good time. So I don't know. I think she's unique when a lot of other girls are playing it safe. Or wearing vault dresses, like Sabrina Carpenter wore that Madonna dress that is playing off of Marilyn Monroe. Like, just layers to how much of a vault dress that one was. And, like, yes, Diet Pepsi could be a Lana song. I do think she's still finding her sound. But there's a lot there that's of interest to me. I like her. I want to see her succeed. So I don't know why I wanted to open this not with Lana Del Rey, Jesus Christ, with Addison Rae. Two different Rays. I just have really been enjoying her and have been thinking about it because, it excites me. So, yeah, I think she's great. I especially love the stuff that she wears and would love to see her at more events. So, there you go. Yes, she's done problematic things in her life. Haven't we all? Whatever. Speaking of pop music, Katy Perry dropped a record. It's titled 143, which means I love you in pager speak, which I think says a lot about the level of relevancy we're working with on this album. It has garnered a lot of poor reviews. It got a 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 on Pitchfork. There's been a lot of dogpiling on Twitter through reviews, etc. Most of which I think is true, but unnecessary, just given how clear everybody has made it at this point that no one likes this. Woman's World was bad satire, if that's even really what it was. She's working with Dr. Luke. Nobody likes Dr. Luke at this point. She clearly doesn't really know what sound she's trying to achieve. I think she's trying to go for her old sound, Teenage Dream-esque era, but it's not turning out that way. It doesn't sound like that. And also, that was 10 years ago, you know what I mean? I guess to address the Dr. Luke stuff, no one should be working with him anymore. Clearly, there were the allegations that Kesha made against Dr. Luke also 10-ish years ago, when she was trying to get out of her contract with him, because he allegedly assaulted her. Many people came forward and said, yeah, that sounds like him. So, pretty likely that he's gross. I just think it's not worth it to work with him at this point. He, is a ruiner of things. I don't even think his production style is that appealing at this point to most people. Yes, he produced Prima Donna by Marina and the Diamonds, but that was a while ago. And, lightning sometimes strikes twice, but it doesn't mean it's going to do it again. So, I just think it's good that Kesha is killing it right now and is doing well. And, it sucks that he works with a lot of people that I do like. Katy isn't necessarily one of them, although I was listening to One of the Boys this morning and I was like, damn, this album's pretty good, but that is not his fault. I don't know. It's just, I like Kim Petras. I like a lot of her stuff, even a lot of stuff she's done with Dr. Luke, which is allegedly most of it. I think she just has the sauce as a singer, performer, as a comedic lyricist, I guess. But I also want to believe that's because of Lil Aaron, her other producer, not necessarily because of Dr. Luke. I don't know. I just think his track record at this point is not very good, and that shows in the work he's doing with Katy right now. It's also just a bad look, as many have said, to try to make a women's empowerment record with an alleged rapist. It's who wants that? No one. And I guess you could say all of that about Kim Petras. I just think Kim has the personality to transcend some of those things, or at least you can ignore it for a second until it starts to make you feel gross. And even then, a lot of that stuff has gotten kind of she needs to figure out what she's doing, I guess, because, like, Slut Pop Miami, like, original Slut Pop, like, great, iconic. Slut Pop Miami, I thought was mostly just, like, kind of crass and not that interesting. I liked Banana Boat, Gag on It, Head Honcho, but that's it. I'm allowed 3 songs, but otherwise it's like, I don't know, you're still working with Dr. Luke. Like, what are we doing? You could be doing so many great things. You know, like his other track record, like he worked with Doja, he did Say So, he's done songs for Doja here and there. Obviously Doja, also controversial figure. I don't think she's a bad person. Once again, maybe I just like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I like her music. Say So is not necessarily a highlight for her, I wouldn't say. Doja's also somebody who produces a lot of her own stuff. So, or at least like has production credits on most of her things. So it's gonna sound not like Dr. Luke necessarily, even if he's like in the room or was in the room for some of it, you know what I mean? Because his other credits at this point are like Lil Durk and like a Nicki Minaj song and stuff that isn't very, it's not like making the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? Like people are not excited about what Dr. Luke is on, you know? So it's weird to me that Katy would pick him, aside from the fact that, like, yes, he produced Teenage Dream, and that is one of the best performing albums of all time. And yes, Teenage Dream is good. It's a good album. And it by, like, mega pop standards. But it's time to move on. And it's shocking to me that nobody told her, like, hey, girl, it's, like, time to do something else. I don't know. I did listen to some of the album, as much of it as I could tolerate. It kind of just sounds like mid-radio pop that you'd hear on, like, a vacation in the Mediterranean or going to the mall for an afternoon. Like, maybe it gets stuck in your head for an hour after you hear it, but then you forget about it completely. And then you're like, what was that song I heard at the mall that one time? And you Google it and you feel nostalgia for, like, a time that you experienced 2 years ago. And then you never think about the song ever again. It's not memorable, I guess is what I'm saying. Especially when, like, other pop girls are, like, owning this year in a severe way. Like Charlie, Sabrina, Chappell. And, like, Chappell is, like, more of a direct descendant to Katy than I think many are willing to admit. And Katy just doesn't really have that niche anymore. Which does make me sad for her, because, like, I don't think Katy is, like, evil or anything. I think she just really wants that relevancy and was grasping at straws, like, post-Witness, you know? Post-Smile, actually. She had another record in between that has Harley's in Hawaii in it, which is a good song. She has good songs, obviously. Like, Teenage Dream, banger. One of the Boys, banger. Controversially, I Kissed a Girl, banger. Like, she's got the sauce sometimes. It just hasn't appeared, I guess, since Harley's in Hawaii. But this era it's not happening for her. And that's quite sad. Because honestly, she looks great right now. She, like, could totally be doing live shows that are exciting for everybody. Like, I have seen her performing recently. Obviously, she did the VMAs. Like, she's still a great performer. There's just she doesn't have the material. And that's really too bad. Don't know where I was going with that, besides, like, damn, that sucks for her. But it does. It sucks for her. So, yeah. Moving on. New York Fashion Week I wanted to talk about. That was about 2 weeks ago now. This is just on topic of stuff I've talked on this podcast about before. There was the Sandy Leong show. Were some show notes that went viral. I will be reading them now, just to make sure you're in the loop. Sandy Leong also is, like, kind of the originator of the bow trend. She's known for, like, very hyper feminine, girly, as in, like, little girl worn by adults, high fashion. She did a Bagu collab that was very popular. She's adored by girls on Twitter and Tumblr because they like to dress like children. And I'm not putting a value judgment on that. But anyway, the show notes for her Spring-Summer 2025 collection made some people annoyed. So let's look into that. I'll just pick out some key phrases here. Being a princess is a job, just like being a spy girl is a job. This season there's something to wear to work, something to catch the subway in, to wear to a piano recital, to wear to the movies, something to live in, to create your own world in. Sandy Liang's Spring Summer 2025 is a secret agent, even if it's just for her own secrets, and she's always ready to go. Anyway, I'm not personally offended by that, but I also don't really like it. It's very much in the like, I'm a girl. Who am I? I'm a girl. That vibe that many women are taking part in. It's, if you actually look at the clothes, it is sort of a riff on like Miss Congeniality. Like princess woman is also like businesswoman, super spy, and that does like come across. I just think it's like very clearly pandering to this, dressing like whoever you wanted to be as a child, which kind of always fits into this like princess ballerina imagination mermaid whatever. Like when women think about what they wanted to be when they were 5 years old, obviously it's going to be like mermaid super spy princess because that's your child. But now many people want to dress like that, I guess, to like reclaim something, which like I'm not shitting on. I just think we've been doing it for a couple years now, and at least at the high fashion level, like it's tired. It's not very interesting. I understand why at like the level of people who are interested in high fashion, it was not well received. And like I don't think the clothes look bad. There's still a lot of bows around, which like at this point, yes, she's the originator of the trend, but like the trend is overdone. So, why don't we move on? Even as the people who made the bows, let's move. Time's up. I don't know. I don't find the particular language she used to be particularly infantilizing. I just know what it's gesturing towards, and I don't like it. I would really like to see more attention given to designers that are designing clothes for women that are actually like functional for day to day and like don't make you feel like a child. I don't know. I just feel like we've been doing this for like 2+ years now, and I'm over it. So I was gonna call out some other designers who I thought did that better. Also, totally forgive me if I butcher names. I'm not good with other languages besides German because that's what I took in high school and college. And it's not the cutest language in the world, so maybe I fucked up on that. Whatever. So there's Parenza Scholler. I thought that had some fun takes on like more casual workwear. Something I could see someone wear into the office if they were very wealthy. There's also Prebalgurung. I'm going to put that one on the screen so you can see it. I'm also going to put it in the description because I totally fucked that one up. They did some dresses that I thought were very interesting. More of like what I think the Sandy Liang collection could have done better, which is like feminine silliness and like having fun within that space. Like there's this red and pink dress that it's red on the top and it kind of flares out and then there's pink under it. I just think that's like more fun. I'm also like more of a fan of the colors that they chose. Like there's this white sort of tank top dress with like feathering at the bottom, but it's blue, sort of in that like mermaid category, but without being so obvious. I'm kind of over pastels. I want to see more fruity colors, but in more like bold or even like muted, dusty tones. Not necessarily just pastels. And there's some pastels in this collection, but like it's not all pastels. You know what I mean? It's not all like the little girly colors. I also liked Christian Cowan. Christian Cowan sounds more correct. And that was more of like a sexy party vibe that felt more like now, because like the current vibe is like 365 party girl, whatever. I just thought those were more of the moment, which, you know, could totally go out of style tomorrow, but it appealed to me. There's like this like leather pleather dress that has lingerie on top, which is very silly. There's just a lot of like fun like cutout and leather moments in this one that I personally find appealing. A lot of wearing bras as tops with like a nice pair of pants. Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't know. I like some of the Sandy Lian collection. I just wouldn't personally wear a lot of it, especially to the office, because like I said, bows are overdone. The silhouettes are intentionally very like little girl, Barbie doll, not very flattering, I think, for the average person. They nailed their own theming, but at what cost? And it also is part of that sort of like ballerina core trend, which is really funny because that trend is old. Like, people were doing that a year and a half ago. Like, Zara released like a ballerina collection about a year and a half ago that was popular. So when Zara's doing it, like, I kind of think the trend is dead, but it really came back for some reason for spring summer 25. And then just a few days ago, Ferragamo also did, this is in Milan, we're doing Milan Fashion Week now. They're ready to wear for spring summer 25 was like fully ballet themed with like what's basically like workout wear recontextualized as high fashion looks. And it's cute, but it's like not groundbreaking. And it is like kind of infantile in a way, because it is like how you imagine a ballerina dresses when you're a kid. There's a really good rehash episode about this, actually, another podcast. But a lot of girls grow up doing ballet or seeing ballerinas and admiring ballet. Understandably, it's really cool. And they see dressing as a ballerina as an adult as a way to like reclaim kind of like a lost youth, or like a path to like this ultimate femininity that they admired when they were children, that they kind of feel like they weren't able to achieve when they were younger, but you can now that you have money and you can pretend to be whoever you want because you have money. But I just think it's kind of corny if you're not actually a ballerina. Like, I wouldn't dress in sportswear for stuff that I'm not doing. That's a lie, actually. I would totally wear a tennis skirt, and I don't play tennis. But I think there's something about being a ballerina specifically that flags to me as a little bit corny to like pretend on. Maybe people who play tennis feel that way about me dressing in tennis skirts and, you know, a sun visor. But that's how I feel about it. A lot of it too sort of looks like if you've seen Black Swan, it looks a lot, especially the Ferragamo collection, it looks a lot like how Natalie Portman dresses in Black Swan, which in the context of that movie is to show that she is like a child. Like, she's stunted and uptight and wears stuff that makes her look really young compared to the other girls who are ballerinas that don't dress like a ballerina 24/7, right? I think that says a lot. It says a lot about society. Anyway, also Milan Fashion Week, like I said, is happening right now. And it already had a moment that I really, really liked. Versace Spring Summer 25. It's all Spring Summer 25 at this point. What am I saying? I love the colors and the patterns on this particular collection. I think it's really nice. It's very approachable and wearable. It's like fun 70s vibes, lots of purples, lots of yellows. Colors that haven't really been in, I guess, but that I would love to see be in. Like, I just think it's very classy for Versace in a way. Big fan. You know what? Thanks for letting me talk about fashion. I get really scared talking about fashion because I'm very much not an expert. I'm like a casual enjoyer. Like, I love clothes. It doesn't look like I love clothes because I just wear t-shirts all the time, but like, I do love fashion. It doesn't feel very accessible for the average person to talk about because I don't know every designer in the world. Most people don't unless they work for Vogue or like are in fashion. It's not very accessible, but I would like it to be because I sometimes will see stuff and it excites me and I like it and it ignites my imagination, you know? There was that video going around on Twitter actually it still is. It's like that Plum Sykes video. She was an assistant to Anna Wintour at Vogue in the late 90s, where she is basically like, only Vogue people dress like this, and she shows like her shirt and skirt combo, and it's like a normal outfit. And a lot of people on Twitter are like, you only think it's a normal outfit because Plum wore it and she made it cool. But that's like not true, because it's the same kind of shit like Rachel from Friends was wearing like 3 years prior to that video. And like any girl watching that show could have realistically put that outfit together, even though those are like designer pieces that Plum Sykes was wearing. Like, it doesn't have to be designer to achieve the same look. And like, that to me is what matters. I know that's not what matters to like a lot of people, but I don't have an elitist view of fashion. So I just think everybody should be able to enjoy and love clothes. Also, Plum Sykes comes from a horrible family. Winding down this episode, because I've already been recording for like 48 minutes. I've been loving Moo Deng, the hippo baby. She reminds me of my dog. I have a pug, and she's really giving Moo Deng, and Moo Deng is giving my dog. So she's in, and you know who's out? Donald Trump. Well, hold on. Let me get to Moo Deng first, because apparently people are like throwing stuff at her and like overwhelming her at the zoo. And you know what? I think don't chappell roan Moo Deng. Don't do this to her. She can live a normal life, and you don't own her. Or like who Moo Deng is her like own person. And you don't get to throw stuff at her, because she's a baby. Don't do that to a baby. I kind of hate to see an animal get famous, to be honest with you. I hate to see anybody get famous, because it's not good for you. And I'm also a really jealous person. A little bit jealous of Moo Deng earlier this week, because I was like, damn, what if everybody was showing videos of me being charming? Anyway, yeah, Moo Deng in, Trump is out. And I only want to say that because I love to make fun of the Red Scare girls on this podcast, and they met him this week, which I think officially means we're like bottom of the barrel for like both parties involved in this situation. Like, Trump apparently needs them, and they need Trump to keep going, which is very sad. He's polling not so great. Abortion is too popular. He's not even that funny anymore. It's tough. It's a tough time to be Donald Trump, I think. I'm not publicly endorsing any candidate. I'm pulling a chappell roan. I'm not publicly endorsing any candidate, because I just don't want to do that. I'm not invested in politics in any particular way right now, to be honest with you. I think he sucks, and I like to see him suffer, so it's been a good week for that, because I think he's embarrassed himself multiple times. Like, he also did this like big tirade on Truth Social, that thing he owns, where he was like ranting about how he doesn't want to ban abortion. He just wants to ban like afterbirth abortion, which is totally a thing that we allow in this country, for sure, man. Very depressing vibes over there. I usually end this podcast with recommendations for things, but I'm gonna be honest, I've been having a really hard time finding things that I like. I've had really good luck with music this year, mostly because a lot of artists I like have been releasing music. I went to the Dares show in Portland last night, had a great time. That's like one of the best shows I've been to in a while. Danced my little heart out, screamed to Girls, which is, if you don't know this about me, love that song. Have been listening to it basically since it came out in 2022. Still to this day have moments where I need to listen to it like 10 times in a row. And I've been doing this for 2 years now. I love that song. I wake up and I immediately put on Girls by the Dare, because I think it's the best. It's the best song that's ever happened to me, frankly. There's just something about it. I think it's so fun and so silly, and it makes me happy. It makes me happy. So, love it. Bought the vinyl at the show. Bought some merch. Great time for me. Yeah, so music has been great. Movies, not so much. I didn't really care for Longlegs, or I saw the TV Glow. Sorry. Neither felt very cohesive to me, I guess. Like, they contained a lot of good ideas, both of them, but they couldn't pare them down, and that is something that frustrates me. Like, if you can't come to like a satisfying or like in the case of Longlegs, like, interesting conclusion, I would rather just not have watched it, frankly. Like, TV Glow was interesting, but I also felt like it was a slog to get through, especially, like, the middle section. And it should have been fun with, like, what they were throwing at me, but it, like, wasn't. It often felt more, like, pretentious, which is a word I hate to throw around, because, like, I'm an intellectual, but it was pretentious. I really didn't like that monologue in, like, the middle section. That didn't hit for me, so. Anyway, been enjoying going to, like, legacy screenings this year, working my way through my watch list on Letterboxd. There are movies I liked. I liked The Beast a lot, and Challengers. Both of those are new. Challengers is definitely my highlight of the year. The Beast I really liked because I liked that section where they're in LA and she's, like, house sitting. But some of the rest of it didn't work as well for me, but I still thought it was, like, unique and fun. Challengers is awesome, as we all know. Like, Luca? Best at working director, frankly. Love him. Never misses. All hits, no misses. So, big fan of the tennis movie. Yeah, what are some of the movies I liked? I liked House of Tolerance. That's the same director as The Beast. I watched that. That's about a brothel in, like, the late 1800s, early 1900s, sort of, like, toward the end of that being, like, a big industry. That was good. Mistress America, Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig, that one was fun. Sort of had, like, fast dialogue Gilmore Girls style, sort of almost, like, theatrical in a way. I saw Les Samurai for the first time this year, enjoyed that a lot, good vibes. Valley of the Dolls I watched, really enjoyed that. That's my first Sharon Tate movie. I want to see more of her. And Valley of the Dolls is very funny, literally camp, and just a wild ride. Not a good movie, but a good watch regardless. The First Omen for horror movies I really enjoyed. I love a nun movie. I love religion as a scary thing in a horror movie, so that one really worked for me. Also, A Woman is a Woman. Maybe one of my best watches of the year. Really enjoyed that one. I think Godard is good. Those are my good movies, so recommend me some other movies, because I would love to hear them. For books, because I usually also recommend some books, I did finish reading The Idiot by Dostoevsky, which I thought was fun. It's my first Dostoevsky, which apparently you're not really supposed to start with The Idiot, but I did, because I liked the premise. Some of the religion stuff was a slog. I don't really care about religion, unless you're making it scary, apparently. I don't really understand what he was talking about, and it didn't really matter to me enough to look it up, so there you go. I also didn't really care about the character of Ippolit, and his consumption, and his suicide note that took up, like, 20 million pages. Like, okay, sorry that happened. Cool. But overall, I got a lot out of the novel, I think. It parallels a lot of... Because, like, the point of the book, right, is, like, in modernity, you're going to run into a lot of bad people. And if you're an innocent person, you're going to get taken advantage of and eventually become deaf and mute or whatever. And that sucks for you. And that totally resonates with what's going on in the world. So I found that compelling. There's a lot of characters in it also that I think I just recognize from my real life. Like, there's a lot of scammers in the book. There's a lot of, like, old money rich people, and it sort of questions, like, their actual relevance in society. Like, why do we idolize these people? They don't do anything that has any bearance on society at this point besides, like, have money that's, like, slowly dwindling. There's a lot of, like, disputing, like, morality and, like, what it means to be a good person when, like, society's changing so quickly. Like, who's good, who's bad? Does it matter? Is anybody truly all good or all bad? You know, stuff that it's just fun to think about. I liked it. It felt very cartoonish sometimes. It works in, like, a carnivalesque, as in, like, Mikhail Bakhtin carnivalesque way. but it just feels kind of like garish sometimes, a little anime-esque even, and like the way that they're like, I have an idea, and they like jump up really quickly. I don't know. It makes it somewhat uncomfortable to read, but it's also part of the whole vibe. So anyway, also, if you go on Wikipedia, the picture of the book has Mishkin, the lead character, looking really ugly, which is super funny in context because in the book, everybody loves him so much. And they're like, what if I married him? And it's like, damn, if he's really that ugly, that's crazy. You ladies are crazy. I really want to read the new Sally Rooney that's come out or is coming out. Love her. Saw a tweet that was like, you either think she's the next Tolstoy or just like a fun romance. And she's really neither to me, but I do really love her. Like, I think she is a great writer and very smart while also not being like super groundbreaking. And I think the romance in her books makes me more sad than they make me yearn for anything in particular. But like, I think romance is allowed to do both. You know what I mean? I really like her stuff. I can read her books repeatedly, and like sometimes I really have to force myself not to. I like the worlds that she constructs. I think there's a lot there that is of interest to me. So yeah, excited to read the new one. I'm currently reading Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn, which rocks really hard. It's like a lesbian satire about living in LA as a writer. The main character's been canceled, which is really funny. It structures itself sort of like a pulp novel. It's definitely playing with like the concept of lesbian pulp and like those books that make being a lesbian seem evil. But it like takes a good hard look at like lesbian culture. Not that I'm a lesbian, but like I've got a lot of lesbians in my life. I'm familiar with the ways the lesbians work. I just find it very funny and kind of rude and just inspiring as a writer because it asks a lot of great questions while being funny and not necessarily afraid to like punch at things that people often get very precious about. So I like it. It's funny. Other to reads on my shelf. Brat by Gabriel Smith. Have heard it's good. We'll see. All Fours by Miranda July. I controversially really don't like Miranda July's movies. This is the first book of hers that I will read. I just think her movies are a little myopic, maybe. A little like millennial precious, just like ignoring real problems in favor of being myopic. They frustrate me, so hopefully the book's not like that, but maybe it is. I want to read some Andrea Dworkin if I can. I'm intrigued by right-wing women. That sounds like I'm just saying. I'm intrigued by right-wing women. She's a book called Right-Wing Women that I'd like to read. Sometimes I see quotes from her online and I'm like, damn, she's cooking. And then sometimes I see quotes by her and I'm like, damn, she's really not cooking. So that fascinates me and I'd like to read it. I also have Love Junkie by Robert Plunkett on my shelf. That's another gay satire that I think will be very charming to me. So those are my books that I'm reading, or going to read, at least. Yeah. This is the podcast, and I don't have a good outro. I just love you guys, and I love doing this, and I'm going to be doing it a lot more, so strap in. Hopefully in the future I'll have more developed stuff to talk about, but it was a slow week, and I just had little things that have been building in my mind that I wanted to talk about, so yeah. There you go. I will see you next week with more of this new format and new intro outro music. All right. Yeah, see ya. Have a fun week. Bye.